Battlefield 6 has been losing players dramatically, and it makes you wonder why. The game launched back in October, becoming the biggest in the franchise history, selling over 7 million copies in the first 3 days, setting records for current players, peaking near 750k on Steam, and generating huge player engagement with over 172 million matches played online in the first weekend. But since its release, until now in 2026, the player base has dropped dramatically. Now, I do have the live stats as of right now on how many people are playing Battlefield 6. So let's go ahead and let's look at these stats, and then we're going to watch a video by a YouTuber named Bratmathy. Okay, so as of right now, there are 88,000 players playing right now. At its highest peak was at 747. So when I look at these stats, the players playing right now is not that bad, to be honest. If it was like in the low 40s, well, it was in the low 40s. For some reason, I know someone made a YouTube video, or I saw a post somewhere in social media saying that it was in the low 40s or 30s, but as of right now, it's at 88,000. So just to compare it to Call of Duty, I do have it here. Call of Duty right now is at 44,000 players. But the thing is, I'm not sure if it's just Call of Duty in general or if it's Warzone. But I could check that out. But now let's compare Battlefield 6, because there's people out there saying the reason why Battlefield 6 is losing players is because there's one certain game that's causing all of this to happen, and that is Arc Raiders. This blows my mind, you guys. We are at 355,000, and at its peak was at 4,801. So as of right now, this game, there is so much hype around Arc Raiders. I myself have not played it. I have been looking at videos just to see if I'm interested in it. I'm gonna be completely honest. This game feels like, and this is my opinion, it might be a real bad take, it feels like a mixture of Last of Us, The Division, and part 2 of Breakpoint. It just blows my mind how there's these amount of players playing right now compared to Battlefield. It's so sad. But let's go into Reddit. And let me go ahead and fix this, because I know it's kind of look blurry on your end. These are people's complaints when it comes to why the game is not working out for them. So to start off, here we go. This guy says, I miss larger and less crowded maps, and we'll come back if they add those. Now, I'm not going to read the reply, but I'm going to go ahead and just go down the list. This guy says, small maps, bad hit registration, and shit matchmaking that they are fixing. This was a month ago. As of right now, I haven't had any issues when it comes to registration, when it comes to your bullets hitting your opponent. I feel like they fixed it. There are some few things that they still need to fix, but as of right now, I mean, I haven't had issues with it. This guy says, because of tight, confined conquest maps, bugs, and Arc Raiders. There you go. Arc Raiders. Because not everyone plays video games every day or every week. Player bases naturally drop after launch. Steam charts are also a fraction of the overall picture. That is so true, because you have PC players, and console players. As of right now, I know they're saying that Call of Duty has surpassed Battlefield 6 within console, but that's just console, you know. It's just they're only focused on a portion of the player base. Like, if you put it all together, maybe, I don't know, maybe Arc Raiders are still up there for sure, but I believe that Battlefield 6 is above Call of Duty. And then he continues on saying, the game still has more than a healthy player base on Steam alone. We don't have to freak out. We don't have to freak out anytime number change. It'll likely drop and raise plenty more times. That is so true. This is the only reply I'm gonna read. This guy says, bruh, I was about to say, some people on the internet, whenever they try to shit on this game, then try to screenshot the player count to make it look like it's dying, when in reality, they took a picture of it at a time where everyone's asleep or at busy time of the day, where everyone's at school or at work. That is so true. They killed Portal and nerfed the XP, because the initial hype has died down and many people are now focusing on the bugs and problems. I'm not playing at the moment myself, and I probably won't get active again until they at least fix the netcode and hit registration issues enough to make the game frustration free. I'm also missing larger maps, Eastwood is great, but unfortunately, it's the only map I really enjoy. You know what? In all honesty, I think if I'm being truly honest with myself and with you guys, Eastwood is one of my favorite maps that they came up with. In every single game mode that I played this map in, I've had such a great time. The map overall, when it comes to its size, I think it's one of the maps that's closest to the like the OGs, like BF3, BF4, and BF1, stuff like that. Even Bad Company games. The only thing I had an issue with the map is when it comes to rush. The rush layout, it's way too close to each other. You have plan A and plan B like several feet from each other. So it's like you're playing a game of whack-a-mole, to be honest. You're just going here and there, here and there, here and there, here and there. And it's just like, if there was more distance, computer thing where you plant the bomb, I think it would be a little bit better. But let's go ahead and continue on. Because they're focused on the BR instead of fixing their servers and netcode issues that most people are having. And that is true. I don't think Battlefield 6 needed a BR. If they would have just focused on the multiplayer section of the game and fix all the issues that people are having. Because me personally, I'm having fun with the game. I'm still playing it. I haven't stopped playing it. To be honest, I'm kind of addicted to the game, and it's a game that's very well done in my eyes and in my opinion. It's not the perfect game, don't get me wrong. There are some issues that I have with the game, but it's been a very long time since I had fun playing a Battlefield game. The last game that I played was Battlefield 1, and that was like one of the most best Battlefield games I've ever played. And then you have Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3, Bad Company 1, Bad Company 2. Those were just the GOATs at the time. But that's because it was mainly focused on the multiplayer. At the time, there was Battle Royale, but it was not as big how it is now. And if EA would have focused just on the multiplayer section, so one team focused on the multiplayer section and the other team focuses on the BR section, I think there would have been a balance between the two. Okay, so now we're gonna watch a video by Retmathy. He has a title, Battlefield 6 is a disappointment. So this will be my first time watching it with you guys. So I'm gonna give you guys my reactions. I'm gonna try to watch the video fully and then just give my opinions from there. So let's go ahead and start it up.
Battlefield 6 feels like it was made by people who learned what made Battlefield so great, but never actually experienced it. I will explain what I mean, but first I need to make a huge disclaimer. Do not assume what I'm going to say in this video. I get it. You read the title and you're wondering if this is going to be like some mindless hate video against something just because it is popular. And I promise you it is not. Not only am I going to substantiate everything I say with examples, but also I have been a long time Battlefield fan and I want to see Battlefield 6 succeed. I mean, I bought the game. Why wouldn't I want my $70 to be well spent? And so before I get into the meat, the real juicy innards of what Battlefield 6 is missing, I want to give a little bit about my background so we are all on the same page. I primarily play military simulators. However, I also enjoy more casual games like Battlefield. And if you're new to—
Wait, what game was that? If anybody know what game was that he just showed, drop a comment down below. Let me know what it was. It looked very, very old.
My channel. When I say casual, that is not meant to be some sort of insult.
Do you guys see that freaking group chat up there? It says Bill Clinton killed my son. That's so freaking random.
Or backhanded comment. There is nothing wrong with the game being casual, just to be clear. Battlefield Bad Company was my first ever Battlefield game. I remember my twin brother Tommy and I sitting on our cousin's couch playing it on the Xbox 360 back when we were little kids, and I thought it was awesome, leading us to grind out Battlefield Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, Battlefield 1, and also Battlefield Play for free. I'm not joking, by the way, that was an actual game. And yes, I remember—
Wait, what? I didn't know that. Yeah, guys, Battlefield Bad Company, Bad Company 2, 3, and 4, and 1, the one I just mentioned, just one of the best games that I've played ever when it comes to Battlefield games. And even now, to discuss something about Battlefield Friends, when BF3 came out, they came up with these series of these characters, and it was just so funny.
We're watching each new episode of Battlefield Friends, and yes, I was there when the USAS with frag rounds was capable of taking out the Earth. And so please, don't hit me with the, oh, you don't like Battlefield because you're not an OG Battlefield player, or you're not a real Battlefield fan because you didn't shove a cluster of fireworks up your ass on launch day.
Oh my god, you guys, I get that so much. I've been playing Battlefield for a very long time, and every time I post a video on TikTok or on Shorts here on YouTube, I'm always getting people saying, "Oh, you're just a cop player playing Battlefield 6. You don't know nothing about like they tell me you don't know anything about Battlefield 6 or just Battlefield franchise in general." It's like, dude, shut up.
And so with that being said, let's start out with the first glaring issue. Vision. In Battlefield 4 on the map Siege of Shanghai, if you destroyed the supporting pillars of the central skyscraper, the entire thing would collapse, leaving a rubble field to fight in alongside the rest of the map being covered in smoke and ash, changing up the dynamics of how the rest of the game would play out. It was one of the craziest spectacles in gaming, and it blew my mind back in 2013. Was it perfect? No. Did my PC crash a few times? Perhaps. Did people complain that the rubble wasn't as fun to fight in compared to the skyscraper? Sure. But you know what? Battlefield 4 had a vision. Sure, not all the maps had Levolution as insane as the one in Siege of Shanghai, but at least the maps tried something. When Battlefield 1 came around, Levolution was put more on the back burner, shall we say. But instead it was replaced with behemoths alongside operations, where there was essentially a multiplayer campaign mode with epic music and historical narration that made you feel like you were a part of something bigger, like a dramatized historical spectacle.
Right,
so
I remember that.
Let me ask you, what does Battlefield 6 attempt to do? I'm not saying that it needs Levolution or operations, albeit that would still be cool. What does Battlefield 6 offer that makes it the next step in the Battlefield franchise? From what I've seen, Battlefield 6 is a relief to many, not because it does or try anything new, but because the previous few titles were so terrible that people are just happy that Battlefield 6 is at least trying to go back to what made it so great. And that lies in the...
Yeah, guys, sorry for keep interrupting. So he is so right. 2042 was a pretty big disappointment. There was so much hype around that game, and when it came out, oh my god, I returned it. Well, first I installed it and I returned it the following day. It's just a game that was like, what the hell is this? They cater way too much to Call of Duty players, and it didn't go well for them. And the thing is, like I stated in the last video, the guy who helped create Call of Duty, so like Modern Warfare 4, Modern Warfare 2, MW3, I think he came back for several other games within the Call of Duty franchise. I think he came back for 2019 and I think some other games. But EA called this guy to help produce or make this game because he had so much success in Call of Duty. They wanted that success and they brought it over here. And may he rest in peace. I don't know if you guys saw the video of how he passed away. It was unfortunate that he passed away that way, and it's very sad, to be honest. But a lot of people say because they have that guy that came over here that this game feels like Call of Duty. But in all honesty, they kept it to the roots of Battlefield, of just a Battlefield game. There may be some areas where it feels like Call of Duty, like you're playing a Call of Duty game, but when you compare it, Black Ops 7 to this game, there's no way, shape, or form that it plays the same at all. So that shit can go out the window.
In the core issue, Battlefield 6 doesn't have a soul or vision. It doesn't have anything new to add to the franchise other than bringing a safe interpretation of the Battlefield franchise into 2025. Now, that doesn't mean Battlefield 6 isn't fun. That might sound surprising given all that I have said so far, but you can have a game be soulless yet still entertaining, like Angry Birds Reloaded. It is just that when a game doesn't really try to take on any new identity and what features or additions it wants to be known for or try to be known for, the game ends up bland. And so getting back to what I was saying in the start of the video, it seems like Battlefield 6 was made by people who never actually played the classics. Let me give an example, right? Rush is a game mode where one side is defending two bombs from being armed and detonated while the other side is trying to arm and blow up the bomb. Pretty straightforward game mode and a classic in Battlefield. But what made the game mode so fun wasn't just the game mode itself. There's plenty of games out there with defuse and armed game modes, right? It was the dynamics of the game mode that made it so interesting. Rush maps in Battlefield, or at least they used to, usually had some sort of cool twist to them. For example, on Damavan Peak in Battlefield 3, once you finish exploding the bombs on the cliff, your next bomb site required you to base jump off that same cliff and fight in the next objective. Do you know how cool it was seeing 32 players all base jumping and parachuting at the same time to fight the enemy? In Bad Company 2, which is in my opinion the best Battlefield for Rush, you would have a similar dynamic where each sector had its own unique gameplay element, and I'm sorry I can't include any gameplay because all the servers are dead, but each server was strategically designed so that it felt like every building, every tree, every wall had a purpose. Each sector didn't feel like a conquest map that was lazily placed with borders and some bombs sprinkled in. In Operation Metro,
And the demolition in that game was off the charts. Like, literally, I think that game, when it comes to bringing down a building, can top any single Battlefield game out there right now. It's my opinion.
you started outside and then slowly fought your way throughout the entire
I love this map.
Metro, and it was insane in the best way possible. 32v32 in close quarters choke points. You would spend literally 20 minutes straight chucking grenades down corridors, launching grenades through subway windows, spam reviving your teammates while trying to flank the enemy, and occasionally there would be a break in the lines and then the entire team would surge forward and try to break out in their own little fights, right? There'd be frenzies, there'd be smoke grenades, some machine guns, knives. It was insane, and it was amazing. Was it balanced? No. But was it fun? Hell yeah. This is the sort of gameplay that was so popular that Operation Locker came out for Battlefield 4, which had similar gameplay dynamics. And sure, playing 32v32, Operation Locker or Metro, the meat blender would get stale after a while. But the good news is that there was a great mix of maps that had more balance, dynamic gameplay, alongside the meat grinder experience, meaning that you could choose what kind of rush experience you wanted. But here's the twist. If you weren't actually there to experience Operation Metro and Locker in its prime, the gameplay would look terrible to you. You might be asking, wait, so you have two teams stuck in a choke point launching grenades at each other almost the entire game? That doesn't sound fun. And that's how you ended up with Rush in Battlefield 6, which is 12v12. Yes, there are custom servers with more players, but those servers are either no XP or they're dead or just, there's something wrong. I'm talking about the base game. And the maps aren't bad for Battlefield 6 Rush. They're just forgettable. Quick interjection here. I know someone is going to say that Breakthrough is supposed to be the replacement for Rush. Is it? Breakthrough is a straight up downgrade from Battlefield 1 operations. In fact, if
I've never heard that before. I have never ever heard someone say that it's a replacement for Rush. Breakthrough, I played a couple matches. I really don't like it. I just stick with Conquest or Rush or just Team Deathmatch, to be honest. And now they add a strike point, so that's a good addition to the game. It's like pretty much like Search and Destroy. I think Search and Destroy.
You don't agree with me, name me one notable, keyword unnotable, thing that Breakthrough does better than Battlefield 1 operations. The reason why Battlefield 1 got a pass for not having such a good rush mode is because it was really, really obvious, both thematically and by just looking at the amount of effort that went into operations, that this was supposed to be at least the temporary replacement for Rush. In Battlefield 6, we get Breakthrough, which plays like a crazy watered down version of operations, to the point where I don't even know if this is supposed to be the replacement for the classic game mode of Rush, where in Battlefield 1 you're screaming, come on man, on to the next point, everyone is charging forward to the next sector, the music is swelling to a crescendo and you see 32 players all surge forward launching grenades and doing a big charge. In Battlefield 6 you're just kind of like, oh, I guess we exploded the bomb. Well, on to the next objective, which is usually just a generic arena with no twists and turns. Again, it's not a bad experience. I'm not saying it's not fun either. It just lacks the soul and vision of the classics. A theme, shall we say. Speaking of soul and vision, what happened to the charm of these games? I distinctly remember Marine Corps cadences being played during loading screens that hyped you up.
I do remember that when you're loading up, like you do hear that. That kind of scared me for a second. I'm sorry, guys. It scared the crap out of me. But I remember when, as you're loading in, you did hear that type of like military voices, stuff like that. It was pretty cool. So
I remember the collages of ribbons and fun little chimes and noises that played when you got a kill or earned some kind of medal. Battlefield 6 has generic hit markers and a splash of color when you kill someone, which I'm not going to say it's not satisfying, but it doesn't have the same personality of the classics. And to be fair, ever since Battlefield 1, or some might argue even Battlefield 4, this has been a problem with kill icons and stuff not being as satisfying. Regardless, what happened to the theme, the color, the little unique stuff that made Battlefield Battlefield? But going back on the topic of maps, most maps and their sections in Battlefield 6 just feel generic and too coincidental. I'm actually not sure what term to use here. Sort of like, the best way I can put it is, if you ever played a single player game where you get to a section and then you see a bunch of convenient shoulder high walls that you instantly know there's a fight coming up. That's sort of like what Battlefield 6 maps feel like. Part of the fun of Battlefield games is not that everything is laid out like a Valorant map or competitive shooter arena. While I'm not saying to have a map design where one team is spawned to Tai Lung's prison, it's okay for Battlefield maps to be designed with more of a homage to real settings than an arena shooter. For example, in Siege of Shanghai, there is a section where you can get on the roof and shoot down these skylights. If you were on top, it was sure a little bit of an awkward angle, but if you were down below, you were pretty much guaranteed to die. So the next time the person who died will hide out in the adjacent rooms and change up their gameplay, as well as try to fight for control of these skylights. Or how about the elevators in Siege of Shanghai? Remember taking the elevator up to be met with a grenade dancing festival in the modern reenactment of Normandy Beach? Hell no, it wasn't balanced, but it was fun as fuck. And no, Siege of Shanghai is far from a perfect map, but I use it as an example because most long-time Battlefield players have experienced the map before. Also, do you remember the Parasol Islands in Battlefield 4, where the theme was trying to get people to fight in boats? And yeah, it didn't always work out, but again, at least the map tried something. At least Battlefield 4 tried something. And also, there was the whole entire naval thing that's pretty much been scrapped. And so when you compare Battlefield 6 to Battlefield 3, 4, 1, and Bad Company 2, and yes, there are obviously great Battlefield games other than those, but I'll just narrow it down to these 4 titles, which are also what people consider to be the classics. What does Battlefield 6 do better? Or more specifically, what does Battlefield 6 try to do better? Battlefield 6 doesn't have Levolution like Battlefield 4. No worries, not every game needs to have the exact same features as the previous, but what does Battlefield 6 replace Levolution with? Battlefield 6 doesn't have the same destruction as Bad Company 2. In Bad Company 2, if you shot a grenade launcher...
I just said that. I literally just said that. Guys, but you guys don't understand. If you guys never played Bad Company 2, when I was introduced to that game for the first time, I fell in love with it automatically. Just the destruction, the weapons, the fun that that game brings. Oh my god! If you guys never played that game, I feel sorry for you guys. That game is just the GOAT of Battlefield.
At a wall, there would be a hole literally where that grenade launcher landed. In Battlefield 6, you shoot a wall twice and the entire thing collapses. So Battlefield 6 destruction is literally a downgrade from Bad Company 2. Bad Company 2 is a game that came out like 15 years ago, by the way. So it doesn't have the same destruction as Bad Company 2. So what else does it have? Does it have the same charm and flair and little chimes as the classics? I love the little blue text popping up in Battlefield 3 alongside the ribbons. I love the little jingle that Bad Company 2 kills gave. And I'm sorry if I can't find an example as I'm showing this because no one plays anymore, unfortunately. What does Battlefield 6 do differently? What does it replace the previous features with? What does it add? Battlefield 6 doesn't have the same epic feel as Battlefield 1, nor does it have the operations that make multiplayer games feel like you're a part of history and something larger, nor does it honestly just look as good as Battlefield 1. And so what does Battlefield 6 replace these very solid and beloved features of Battlefield 1 with? I don't know. You tell me. If Battlefield 6 is your first ever Battlefield game, I hope you have fun, and you should have fun. It is hilarious flying up to enemy tanks with C4 cars, or collapsing the roof of buildings enemies are hiding in, or landing 800-meter headshots, or shooting RPGs after jumping out of a jet. But for anyone else who's been a longtime Battlefield fan, none of this is new. You can do this in pretty much every single previous Battlefield title that I can think of. And I'm only saying I think because I haven't played every single Battlefield game out there. And while at the end of the day, I'm just speaking for myself here, I seriously don't see how Battlefield 6 innovates or does anything special. Post-edit Ratmith here, I almost forgot to talk about the open classes, which literally takes away a core element of Battlefield games. Open classes being that every class can use every gun. The entire point of guns being restricted to classes is that it forces you to get good. It forces you to adapt, and each class has their own strengths and weaknesses. You want to use an assault rifle? Tough luck if you're computer engineer, figure it out. This is also what I mean by the people making Battlefield 6 not understanding Battlefield. While this is a guess, obviously I don't work for the development team, I am assuming that someone said, hey, restricting weapons to each class might turn away more casual players, so let's just get rid of this core mechanic so players don't actually have to learn each class. Anyways, back to the video. And so as a Battlefield fan, the relief is in the fact that it seems like Battlefield 6 wants to go back to more of its roots. The disappointing aspect is that it does so in a pretty bland and forgettable way, and even then it really isn't reminiscent of the classics with its open classes and increasingly frenetic movement speeds. I mean, if you're a longtime Battlefield fan, do you feel like Battlefield 6 is better than Battlefield 3 or 4 or 1 or Bad Company 2? But this is not a hate video. Battlefield 6 wants to be a live service game, and for all I know, a year from now, Battlefield 6 may be just as amazing, if not better, than the classics. Keep in mind, this is still early in the life cycle of Battlefield 6, but my fear is that the team behind Battlefield 6 doesn't actually understand what made Battlefield so fun, and starts to instead swing the pendulum towards Battle Royale and trying to be Warzone 2.0 rather than an upgrade on the classics. And so, to be blunt here, more than I have been already,
I'm gonna stop it right there. So he is right. Right now, Battlefield 6 is having the issue with a lot of people. There's a lot of people who are complaining and who have their own opinions, and that's okay. People are more than welcome to have their own opinions. But this is just the beginning of this Battlefield game. I remember when 2042 came out, it was the worst launch ever. The game was just completely shit. I came back to it. I rebought the game. I came back to it. I think it was last year before this game came out. And it was actually pretty fun. Like, there were still a few problems that I had with, but it was pretty fun. So the same thing might happen with this one, but this one is 10 times better than 2042. And I mean, this game is nowhere near close to the BF1, Bad Company 1, Bad Company 2, 3, and 4. Nowhere near that. But you guys have to remember, the creator of Call of Duty came over here to help Battlefield 6 be where it needs to be. And the numbers don't lie. When the game came out, it beat Call of Duty when it comes to sales. It had a good launch in the beginning, and we don't know what happened before this guy passed away. Maybe he had different ideas for this game and different content or maps, guns. With him being gone now, we don't know who's gonna pick it up. Who's gonna pick it up and say, you know what, let's focus, like let's hear the community, because that's one thing they're good at. They're good at hearing the community. So they might say, let's go back to the roots of Battlefield 3, BF4, and stuff like that, and let's get away from what he was trying to do, because people obviously don't like it. We don't know that yet until we have to give it a few months until they actually figure it out and what they want to do, and they have to make the fan base happy at this point.
I know this video probably ruined any chance of a sponsorship from Battlefield, but I am also not going to lie or compromise what I believe.
Just be honest with yourself, man. You gotta be honest.
That people who say Battlefield 6 is the next best thing are lying either. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, and this is just mine. And so for me, I think Battlefield 6 is fine. It has potential, but as of now, it is just a bland addition to the Battlefield franchise that tries to capture the spark and essence of the classics with none of the vision and soul. At least for now. Let's see where this game ends up in a year, and I do hope it succeeds. Thank you for watching, and I'm also on vacation right now for the next month and a half. I have videos.
That was an amazing video by Remethy. His animations that he puts up, it's really funny. It's like he said. So here, let's go back to what he said.
On Battlefield, but I am also not going to lie or compromise what I believe in. I am also not saying that people who say Battlefield 6 is the next best thing are lying either. Everyone.
Okay. Let's stop right there. Me personally, this game is a lot better than Call of Duty. I haven't played Arc Raiders myself, so I can't really speak upon Arc Raiders. But from what I hear and from what I'm seeing, especially the numbers, Arc Raiders right now is just beating every single game out there right now. It's one of those AAA games that they just done it right, you know, and kudos to them, congratulations to them. They're doing shit right. Now, me personally, Battlefield 6 is the game, and Battlefield 6 is a game that I will recommend to my friends, to family members, even to you guys, the audience who watch these videos. I will recommend this game to you guys. If you don't believe me, even these big time YouTubers like Swag, who has really dumb takes when it comes to Battlefield. He's trying to implement Call of Duty mechanics into this game. It's just not, no. And then you have Tim the Tap Man, who enjoyed Battlefield 6 for quite some time. He played multiplayer and then he got bored. But then he played Battle Royale of RedSec and he enjoys it. Just like this other guy named Nick, forgot his whole YouTube channel. You got Peanut Guy, you have Ninja. They all play together. They play Arc Raiders, they play Battlefield 6, and they enjoy the game. And I'm not saying just because of them you should be liking it too. It's just, if people are having fun with this game, let them have fun. If not, then just move on. But this is a great video by Retmathy. If you're not already, like his video, subscribe to his channel. He got some really good stuff, and this is a great video by Retmathy. So guys, what are your thoughts when it comes to this video, and what are your thoughts on why the real reason why Battlefield 6 is losing its players? You think it's just as of right now because, you know, Arc Raiders is this big thing right now? You know, games die out over time. You know, look at Call of Duty. No one has ever thought Call of Duty would die out, but it has. It just took time, especially with the repetitive year by year games are coming out. It gets stale. And this is just the beginning for Battlefield 6. Right now, it started off good, and right now it's just at its lowest right now. But I firmly believe that it's gonna bounce back. But that's it for the video. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what are your thoughts on this video, and hit the notification bell so every time I upload a video, long or short, you are aware. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Until next time.